This page is the front cover for the Phantasy Star Online, Episodes 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection book. It highlights that Sonic Team fully cooperated in the creation of this book. The cover states it contains a total of 480 illustrations and setting drafts, introduced with staff comments. It also notes that the book includes content such as yearbooks, character introductions, terminology explanations, newly drawn illustrations, unreleased illustrations, and rare item setting drawings. The next page shows the title, Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, along with the Japanese text, Setting Material Collection. Below the title, there is a group of characters lined up. These appear to be representative character classes from Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2. This page looks like an introduction to the character sections of the book, following on from the cover page, which described character introductions as part of the book's content. This book serves as a setting material collection for Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, organized into 7 sections. The book opens with an illustration gallery, Section 1. Subsequent sections feature character designs, Section 2, including all playable races and sub-characters, and initial design illustrations. Section 3 details maps and enemies, showcasing environments and enemy designs, including initial concept art. Boss enemies are covered in Section 4. Weapons and mags are the focus of Section 5, and the Regal Report, Section 6, delves into the planet's history, organizations, and key figures. The book concludes with the creator's voice, Section 7, a Sonic Team roundtable discussion, and an index. The next page is the first page of the illustration section of the book. It features a dynamic layout of hexagonally framed artwork, showcasing character illustrations, and a spaceship against a backdrop of stars and stylized golden streaks. The number 01 and the word illustration are prominently displayed, clearly indicating the start of this section. The next page is page 01 of the illustration section and features the package illustration for Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 on Xbox. This artwork by Akikazu Mizuno from SONICTEAM was initially created with a relaxed approach, as they believed the GameCube version art might be reused. The team was actually surprised when this illustration was chosen for the Xbox package. The artwork showcases a group of characters from the game, prominently featuring a central character holding dual sabers. This page is illustration 01, and it's the package art for Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 on GameCube and Xbox, created by Akikazu Mizuno from SONICTEAM. The art shows a group of characters in a dynamic composition, with the main focus on a central character holding dual sabers. The illustration was made with a relaxed feeling initially, as there was thoughts of reusing the GameCube art, but this version was chosen for the Xbox package in the end and became the main visual. The text at the bottom mentions it's an orthodox composition, with all members facing right, and it aimed to evoke a feeling of a fresh start, being the main visual for the initial Dreamcast version. This page is illustration 01 from SONICTEAM. It's the package art for the GameCube version modem pack of Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2. The illustration shows a central figure, who is a hunter-class character holding dual sabers. Around him there are hexagonal frames displaying various characters, likely representing different classes or archetypes from the game. The text from Akikazu Mizuno of SONICTEAM mentions that he was asked to revise the illustration with limited time, and found it challenging due to the small details in the hands and the overall size of the artwork, stating it would have been easier to avoid drawing the full body. This page is another illustration from SONICTEAM, and it seems to be package art for the PC version of Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2. The artist, Akikazu Mizuno, from SONICTEAM, mentioned that he consciously made the art style denser and more detailed, considering the PC audience, as opposed to previous illustrations. He also decided to feature a H-Humorl character prominently in the center, as many previous artworks focused on H-Humor characters. We can see a H-Humorl wielding dual sabers, surrounded by other characters that look like a RA cast, F-Omarl, H-Humor, Aramar, and F-O-Nuerl, representing various character classes from the game. This page is an illustration from SONICTEAM, and it's package art for the Dreamcast version of Phantasy Star Online, PSO, DC. Akikazu Mizuno from SONICTEAM, the artist, mentioned that it was the first time he had to draw all the characters properly, and the most difficult part was the costumes and other details, especially for the Force class due to the many small parts, which required him to consult with the character designer. The illustration shows a group of Phantasy Star Online characters, featuring a Humar in the front, a Hune Whirl behind him, a RA Cast and RA Mar on the left side, and a FO Marl and FO New Whirl on the right side, along with a large mech suit in the background. This page is Illustration 01, a cover art piece created by SONICTEAM's Akikazu Mizuno for Dorimaga, or Dreamcast Magazine, published by SoftBank. This artwork was made when episodes 1 and 2 were announced, and it aims to capture the excitement of new characters and adventures with a dynamic feel. The illustration prominently features 4 characters: a Humar holding a saber at the front, a Hue Whirl behind him, a Ramar on the left, and a FO Marl on the right, who seems to be holding a weapon. This page is part of the Phantasy Star Online episodes 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection, and is page number 009. This page features 2 illustrations that were created as cover art for Weekly Dreamcast Magazine, published by SoftBank. Both of these illustrations were created by Sonic Team. According to Akikazu Mizuno from SONICTEAM, these 2 pieces were the very first illustrations he made featuring the main characters together. He notes the effort he put into creating them based on character drafts. Mizuno points out that at the time of the top illustration, before the game's release, only 4 characters had been revealed. These 4 characters, who are depicted in the upper image, the Humar, Hune Whirl, Aramar, and FO Marl, went on to be featured in many subsequent illustrations, making these initial artworks particularly significant to him. The top image shows these 4 characters in dynamic poses and full-body views. The bottom image presents a different group of characters, possibly representing earlier designs or alternative concepts. This page showcases 2 illustrations that were originally created as cover art. The top image was for Dorimaga, which is Weekly Dreamcast Magazine published by SoftBank, and the bottom one is for Famitsu DSC, which is Famitsu Dreamcast Magazine, published by Enterbrain. Both illustrations were produced by Sonic Team. The text mentions that these 2 pieces were drawn around the time of version 2 release. Akikazu Mizuno from SONICTEAM explains that these illustrations, particularly the top one, were among the first to feature the main characters together, and that he put significant effort into their creation. He also notes that the character designs were slightly modified from the DC version, especially in hair color. The illustrations aimed for a dynamic and action-oriented feel, reflecting the battle mode. The top illustration features the Humar, Hune Whirl, Aramar, and FO Marl in full-body poses. This page features an illustration from SONICTEAM, which was created as cover art for Dorimaga, the Weekly Dreamcast Magazine. The text explains this piece was made when they received the Dorimaga Grand Prix Award. The artist, Akikazu Mizuno, mentions the request was to draw the characters in a guts pose, aiming for a different feel than usual, resulting in more composed and impactful expressions. The illustration showcases the Humar, Hune Whirl, Aramar, and FO Marl characters in full poses. This page presents an illustration from SONICTEAM that was created for the software release, with the theme of "Let's go on an adventure together." The artist, Akikazu Mizuno, describes the challenges of magazine illustrations, including deadlines and layout constraints. This artwork is identified as the cover illustration for Famitsu DC Magazine, published by Enterbrain. We can see 2 characters prominently featured in the illustration. This page showcases an unreleased illustration by SONICTEAM's Akikazu Mizuno, originally intended for a magazine cover but later used as a poster for the overseas GameCube release of Phantasy Star Online, episodes 1 and 2. The artwork presents a dynamic scene with 4 characters poised for action, aligning with the theme of embarking on an adventure together. We can see what appears to be a Ranger-class character wielding a firearm, a Hunter-class character with a photon saber, a Force-class character manipulating lightning with a staff, and a RACA SEAL-type character in the background brandishing a partisan. The text at the bottom identifies this as page 014 of the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The next page showcases another unreleased illustration from SONICTEAM by Akikazu Mizuno. This artwork features 3 characters in a dynamic pose We can see a male character on the left side dressed in blue and white, a central female character in green and red, and to the right, a purple-skinned RACA SEAL-type android character. This is page 015 of the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection, and the text at the top indicates it is from SONICTEAM. This page features artwork depicting scenes from the game, described as manual scene images. The top illustration showcases a party of 4 characters in a natural, outdoor setting. We can see a blonde-haired female character with elf-like ears wearing a red and blue outfit, another green-haired female character also with elf ears in a red outfit, a white-haired male character in blue armor holding a large sword, and a blonde male character in gray armor. The lower illustration appears to be set in a more futuristic, city-like location, depicting a group of people including characters with similar elf-like ears wearing purple and yellow outfits interacting with each other. This page showcases 2 illustrations with commentary from SONICTEAM. The top image is described as the book cover illustration, and the artist, Akikazu Mizuno, notes that initially the plan was just to draw Riko and Floen, but it expanded to include all characters in a composition divided by gender. He mentions this is the first time he has properly drawn Floen in a group setting. The lower image is labeled as Manual Scene Image, and Mizuno explains it was created as a chapter opener illustration for a Phantasy Star Online magazine feature, inspired by character creation and city shop actions. This page showcases an illustration that was used as the cover art for the Phantasy Star Online Complete Setting Material Collection, The Book of Hunters, published by Kadokawa Shoten. Akikazu Mizuno from SONICTEAM comments on the illustration, mentioning it's the first time he has properly drawn Riko, a character very popular with players, and that he was able to freely express his desired touch and composition in the artwork. This page is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page features 2 illustrations from SONICTEAM. The top section is from the Phantasy Star Online Complete Strategy Guide, published by Kodansha, used as a cover illustration. Akikazu Mizuno, from SONICTEAM, mentions that due to a tight schedule at the time, they aimed for a simple yet bold composition, using white and black as a base, with all characters facing forward in a pattern not seen elsewhere. Below this is another illustration from SONICTEAM, used as the cover art for the Bisuo PSO fanbook, published by SoftBank Publishing. Mizuno states that the request was to create a commemorative photograph-style image, including sub-characters, so they considered various poses. As it was for a fanbook, they deliberately lowered the heads and kept the colors simple and light. He also notes that this is his first time properly drawing MAG in an illustration. The image shows a large group of Phantasy Star Online characters in a vibrant and colorful scene. This page showcases illustrations from SONICTEAM. The top illustration is the cover art for the novel version of Phantasy Star Online, The Succession of Light, Part 1, published by Kadokawa Sneaker Bunko. It's stated this is an illustration intended for the cover. Below, you can see 2 more images. On the left is another illustration, this time from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. It appears to be concept art of Dark Faults from Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2. On the right are character portraits, likely also from the setting materials for Episode 1 and 2, showcasing different character designs and outfits. This page is titled Illustration 01 and showcases more artwork, some of which is for the novel adaptation of Phantasy Star Online. Specifically, the top illustration with the multiple panels is the cover art for the novel Phantasy Star Online, Factor of Darkness, Part 2, from Kadokawa Sneaker Bunko. It looks like it's intended to depict key scenes from the story. Below that are more illustrations. The larger image features a male hunter, a female character with elf-like ears, and a red mechanical being, all wielding weapons in a combat stance. According to a note from SONICTEAM by Akikazu Mizuno, the costumes are slightly redesigned from the game to reflect that the novel is set a few years after the original PSO story. He also mentions the protagonist is a trainee hunter, explaining why they lack shield parts typically seen on hunter characters' arms. This page is number 021 from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page is also titled Illustration 01 and continues showcasing artwork for Phantasy Star Online. You can see 4 blocks of artwork, each featuring a group of character classes from the game. The first block shows the Hunter classes, H-Unwhirl, H-Umar, and a H-U cast. The second block features the Ranger classes, a R-A-C-A Seal, a Aramar, and a R-A cast. Following that, the third block displays the Force classes, a F-O-M-A-R, a F-O-Marl, and a F-O-New-Earl. The final block in this section shows a H-U-C-A Seal, a F-O-Marl, and a R-R-Mar, and is labeled as a Web Money Series illustration. On the right side of the page, there's a larger illustration showing profile views of 3 characters, which is identified as jacket art for the PSO original soundtrack, Polydol. Below this, you can see the cover art for the PSO Songs of RAGOL Odyssey soundtrack, Episode 1 and 2, Polydol, Jacket. At the bottom right, there's a note from SONICTEAM's Akikazu Mizuno, who explains that these illustrations, specifically the character groupings, were created for soundtrack jackets and the Web Money series. He mentions they are also drawing versions for Ranger and Force classes, along with Hunters, for these promotional materials. He humorously adds that the current half-body illustrations might not look very impressive on their own. This page is titled O2 Character, and it showcases more artwork related to characters in Phantasy Star Online. The page features hexagon-shaped artwork panels. One large central panel shows a spaceship flying through space with a star-filled background. There are also panels in the top left and bottom right corners. The top left panel features 2 character portraits, and the bottom right panel also displays 2 character portraits. This page is titled Humor and introduces the character Humor, described as Hunter Human Man. The text from SONICTEAM explains that Humor was the character design they struggled with the most. While other characters were easier to add traits to, Hummer was challenging because he is a fundamental character, not a protagonist, but still needs to be essential. They decided to base his design on the image of Sun Wukong from Sayuki, Journey to the West, which received a lot of positive feedback. They initially considered short pants for him, but when they made them longer, he looked more youthful. The page also shows 2 design variations of Humor, one in blue and another in orange. This page, titled Character O2 Humor All Costume and Head Pattern, showcases 6 different color variations for the Humor character's costumes and head. These are presented as pattern options selectable when choosing the Humor character in the game. The page numbers it as 025 and is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The variations are numbered 1 through 6 and show front and back views of each color scheme. The next page continues showing the Humor character variations, this time showcasing costume patterns numbered 7 through 12, along with head variations labeled A through E. Each costume pattern from 7 to 12 displays both front and back views of the Humor character in different color schemes. These are likely additional customization options available for the Humor class in Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, offering a range of visual styles. The bottom text indicates this page is from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection. This page continues showcasing Humor character variations, this time featuring costume patterns numbered 13 through 18, presented in front and back views. Additionally, head variations labeled F, G, H, I, and J are displayed. The bottom text indicates this is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection book. This page features the H-Unwhirl, which is the Hunter Newman Woman class. From SONICTEAM, the design process is described, noting that while previous Newman designs like Nellie were considered, leotards were deemed too much. Instead, the concept focused on bondage fashion and a sexy aesthetic, aiming for a beast concept. Design choices like the asymmetrical costume and the ID collar accessory were made to give a rougher feel. The designer, Yuki Takahashi, mentions struggling with the size and angle of the Newman ears. The page also includes a smaller image showcasing the H-Unwhirl's setting design in a different outfit. This page showcases the H-Unwhirl all costume and head pattern designs and is labeled as Character 02. It presents 6 variations of the Hume-World's costumes, numbered from 1 to 6, with both front and back views of each design. The notes at the bottom in Japanese state that these are the basic patterns for character selection, totaling 6 variations. It also mentions that there are 4 color variations depending on the skin color selection, specifically variations 9 and 18, and finally mentions the game title, Phantasy Star Online Episodes 1 and 2, as the source of this design material. This page continues showcasing the Hume-World all costume and head pattern designs and is still part of Character 02. It presents costume variations numbered from 7 to 12, each shown with front and back views. Additionally, there are head pattern variations labeled A, B, C, D, and E, showing different hairstyles for the Hume-World character. Costume 7 is a white outfit, Costume 8 is a brown and leather style, Costume 9 is a dark green and gray design, Costume 10 is red and animal print, Costume 11 is blue, and Costume 12 is yellow and green. The head variations A to E display different hairstyles for the Hume-World, offering a selection of looks. This page continues the Character 02 section, showcasing more costume and head pattern variations for the Hume-World character. Costume designs are numbered 13 through 18 and are shown in front and back views. Costume 13 is a green outfit. Costume 14 is purple. Costume 15 features a black and orange top with fishnet stockings. Costume 16 is white and gray. Costume 17 is pink and white, and Costume 18 is yellow and blue. Additionally, head pattern variations are presented, labeled F, G, H, I, and J, displaying different hairstyles for the Hume-World. The page number of this document is 031, and it is part of the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The next page introduces the HU cast, which stands for Hunter Android. Man, this is another character class in Phantasy Star Online from Sonic Team. The page features a full illustration of the HU cast character in its standard orange and blue color scheme, wielding a partisan weapon with a blue photon blade. A smaller inset image shows an alternate color scheme for the HU cast, this time in purple and white, and wielding a saber and a handgun. The text on the page mentions that the HU cast concept was initially envisioned as a ninja robot. The designers aimed to create a design that felt directly connected to the human form, considering user character selection. They also mention an early design that resembled RoboCop with half of the face visible, but this idea was later dropped in favor of a design that obscured the face more. The designer, Wataru Watanabe, notes that while variations might seem minor, subtle differences in lines and details exist, and encourage viewers to pay attention to these nuances. This page continues the HU cast character class from Phantasy Star Online, detailing the all costume and head pattern. It showcases 5 different color variations for the HU cast, numbered 1 through 5. Each variation displays a front and back view of the HU cast character model in different color schemes, like red, blue, yellow, green, and purple, and also presents a selection of alternate head designs for each color set. The page is marked as Character 02 and Basic Pattern when selecting character 5, indicating these are the standard color options available when you create a HU cast character. It's page 33 from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page continues showing the HU cast, all costume and head pattern variations, detailing options numbered 6 through 10. 5 more color schemes are presented for the HU cast character class, with each variation shown in both front and back views, along with a selection of alternate head designs. The color themes include black and white, blue, silver, orange, and an orange and yellow combination. This is page 34 of the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page continues showcasing the HU cast all costume and head pattern variations, now detailing options numbered 11 through 15. 5 more color variations are presented for the HU cast character class, each displayed with front and back views and a selection of alternate head designs. The color themes featured here are blue, yellow, green, purple, and black. This is page 35 of the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection and is marked as Character 02 on the page. This page showcases further HU cast all costume and head pattern variations, specifically options numbered 16 through 20. There are 5 more color variations for the HU cast character class presented here, each displayed with front and back views and a selection of alternate head designs. The color themes on this page are gray and orange, purple and dark gray, green and orange, red and dark gray, and blue and yellow. This is page 36 of the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection, and is marked as Character 02 on the page. This page continues showcasing the HU Cast all costume and head pattern variations with options numbered 21 through 25. There are 5 more color variations for the HU Cast character class shown, presented with front and back views and different head designs. The color themes on this page are yellow and blue, green and red, purple and pink, black and red, and blue and orange. The text at the bottom of the page indicates this is from Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection, and page number 037. The page is marked Character 02. This page introduces the HUCA Seal, a Hunter Android Woman character class. The main image features a detailed illustration of the HUCA Seal in a white and blue outfit striking a dynamic pose. Below are smaller images that showcase setting design variations for the HUCA Seal, with different color schemes and poses, including one wielding a sword. The text from SONICTEAM, signed by Wataru Watanabe, explains that while the basic design existed from the Dreamcast version, the head pattern was newly drawn. It mentions the popularity of the Reiki seal, and how they incorporated a more human-like face for the HUCA seal. The designer also points out the ponytail head pattern for balance, and playful elements inspired by cats and rabbits were added. This is page 038 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The next page continues to showcase the HUCA seal, highlighting all costume and head pattern variations. It presents 5 different basic pattern sets, numbered 1 through 5, each featuring front and back views of the HUCA seal in distinct color schemes. Variation 1 is orange, Variation 2 is blue, Variation 3 is yellow, Variation 4 is green, and Variation 5 is purple. Alongside each full-body image are smaller images, displaying different head options for each color scheme. The page is labeled Character 02, and at the bottom it is noted that these are Character Select Basic Pattern, 5 options, and this is page 039 from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection. This page continues with the HUCA seal, all costume and head pattern variations, showcasing patterns numbered 6 through 10. Pattern 6 is presented in an orange and gray color scheme, Pattern 7 in white and light blue, Pattern 8 in blue and darker blue, Pattern 9 in pink and white, and Pattern 10 is red and white. For each of these costume variations, there are also several different head pattern options displayed. This page is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection. This page is titled Character 02, and it continues to showcase HUCA seal costume and head pattern variations. Following on from the previous page, you can see patterns numbered 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 presented here. Pattern 11 is in a blue and orange color scheme. Pattern 12 is yellow and orange. Pattern 13 is green and yellow. Pattern 14 is purple and white. And Pattern 15 is black and red. For each of these costume styles, both front and back views are provided, along with a selection of different head pattern options. This page continues showcasing the HUCA seal all costume and head pattern variations, displaying patterns numbered 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Pattern 16 presents a white and blue color scheme, while Pattern 17 features a teal or blue-green aesthetic. Pattern 18 is designed in green and purple, Pattern 19 is pink, and Pattern 20 is in blue and white. For each of these costume styles, you can see both front and back views of the character, alongside a selection of different head pattern options. This page continues the character variations, showcasing more HUCA seal, all costume, and head patterns, numbered 21 through 25. Pattern 21 is presented in a vibrant yellow and blue color scheme. Pattern 22 features a green and olive green style. Pattern 23 uses a purple and white color combination. Pattern 24 is designed in black and purple. Finally, pattern 25 is white and gray with orange accents. For each of these patterns, you can see both a front and back view of the HUCA seal, along with a selection of different head pattern options. The page is titled Character 02, and the bottom text indicates this is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection, and page 43 of the book. This page introduces the RAMAR, which stands for Ranger Human Man, and details the design concept from Sonic Team. The Ranger class is based on military fashion, with the RAMAR specifically envisioned as a Special Forces soldier. The designers aimed for a balance to maintain the sci-fi feel of the game world, and avoided making the military aspect too dominant. The face designs for RAMAR were initially more rugged but evolved to a calmer, more refined look. Interestingly, the illustrator, Mizuno, is noted to prefer drawing characters with middle-aged faces. The page showcases a large illustration of the RMR in his orange and black armor, holding a green weapon, alongside a smaller image labeled RMR Setting Design, which presents an alternative color scheme in blue, white, and green with different weaponry. This page is titled RMR All Costume and Head Pattern, and its character option number 02, showing the different color variations and head styles for the RMR character class. You can see 4 main color schemes: red, blue, beige, and green, and above each full body shot are various head options for each costume. This is basically showing off the different looks you can give your RMR character when you're creating them in the game. The next page continues showing the RMR character options, specifically costume patterns 5 through 8. These are color variations like purple, black, white, and a khaki or green style. Above each full-body costume, you'll see a range of different head options you can choose from to further customize your RMR character's appearance. This page continues showing the character variations and costume patterns, numbers 9 through 12. Costume pattern 9 is a gray suit with red accents. Pattern 10 is an orange color variation, pattern 11 is blue and white, and costume 12 is yellow and gray. Each costume pattern also displays a selection of different head options to further customize the character's appearance. At the top of the page, it is labeled Character 02. This page continues showing the RMR character variations and costume patterns, numbers 13 through 16. Costume pattern 13 is a green color scheme with red accents. Pattern 14 is a purple variation, pattern 15 is a dark gray and blue, and costume 16 is white with orange details. Each costume pattern also displays a selection of different head options above and below the character models to further customize the RMR's appearance. This page showcases further RMR character variations and costume patterns, continuing from the previous page. We are now looking at numbers 17 and 18. Costume pattern 17 features a blue and gray color scheme, while pattern 18 presents an earth tone design with brown and green colors. Just like the previous examples, there are a selection of different head options displayed above each character model, allowing for even more customization. This page is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection, and is page 049. This page introduces RAMAR-L, the Ranger Human Woman. She is designed with an officer-type fashion in mind, stemming from the RAMAR class being soldiers. This design concept predates Episode 1 and 2, and interestingly, the military Santar characters found in the city are based on RAMAR-L's design. The uniform and hat styles draw inspiration from military references, and her personality is envisioned as quite strong-willed and somewhat arrogant, like someone who would confidently pose with hands on hips and heels. The page showcases her design, with the main illustration in black and red, along with smaller images showing an alternate green and red color scheme for her outfit, which is labeled as the RAMAR-L Setting Design. This page showcases the RAMAR All Costume and Head Pattern, displaying the various costume and head options available for the RAMAR-L character. It's labeled as Character 02, and notes that these are the basic patterns for character selection. 4. The page presents 4 distinct costume sets, numbered 1 through 4, each depicted with front and back views. Above and below the full-body illustrations are rows of head variations, showing different hairstyles and headgear that can be combined with the costumes. The page number is 051, and the book is Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection. The next page continues showcasing the RAMAR All Costume and Head Pattern, this time displaying costume sets numbered 5, 6, 7, and 8. Each costume set is presented with front and back views of the RA-MRL character, and above and below each set are rows of different head variations featuring various hairstyles and headgear options. This page is numbered 052. This page continues showcasing RA-MRL all costume and head pattern, now displaying costume sets numbered 9, 10, 11, and 12. Similar to the previous page, each costume set is presented with front and back views of the RA-MRL character, accompanied by rows of different head variations both above and below, showcasing various hairstyles and headgear options. This page is numbered 053 and is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The page is titled Character at the top right, with the number 02 in a hexagon. This page continues the RA-MRL all costume and head pattern showcase and presents costume sets numbered 13, 14, 15, and 16. Just like before, we see front and back views of the RA-MRL character wearing each costume, along with rows of different head variations above and below, displaying various hairstyles and headgear to go with each outfit. Costume 13 is a green and gray design, followed by costume 14 in magenta and purple, then costume 15 in black and red, and finally costume 16, which is white and pink. The next page showcases character costume sets numbered 17 and 18. Continuing the RA-MRL all costume and head pattern showcase, set 17 features a blue and purple outfit, while set 18 presents a beige and yellow camouflage design. As seen previously, there are front and back views of the RA-MRL character wearing each costume, and above them are rows of head variations displaying different hairstyles and headgear options for each set. At the bottom of the page it reads, Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection, and the page number 055. This page introduces the RA cast, which stands for Ranger Android Man, and this is a setting design page for this character class. The page features a full-body artwork of the blue and white RA cast wearing camouflage pants. In the top right corner, there's another RA cast illustration, this one in green and white camouflage, equipped with a different head and weapon. There's a note from SONICTEAM at the bottom, explaining that the RA cast is designed to look like a robot but is actually an android with human-like parts underneath armor that is removable. The head designs are inspired by robot anime, with subtle line variations between designs. This is page 056. This page is about RA cast costume and head variations, showcasing the different color patterns available for this character class. It displays 5 main color schemes: red, blue, gold, green camouflage, and purple, each numbered from 1 to 5. Below each full body view, you can see the different head variations available for each color pattern. The page is titled RA Cast All Costume and Head Pattern, and a note at the bottom mentions these are basic patterns when selecting a character for, suggesting these are fundamental color options in character creation. This page number is 057 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page continues showcasing RA cast costume and head variations, expanding on the color patterns. It presents 5 additional color schemes, numbered 6 through 10. These new patterns include a dark black and gray scheme, a white and gray camouflage pattern, a white and red pattern, an orange and white scheme, and finally, a reddish-brown and green pattern. Similar to the previous page, each color variation is shown with different head designs below the full-body images. This page is number 058 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The next page showcases further RA cast variations, this time displaying color patterns numbered 11 through 15. These include a blue color variation, followed by a yellow one, a green camouflage scheme, a purple design, and lastly, a gray-colored version. Similar to the previous page, below each full-body image, different head variations are shown for each color scheme. This page is number 059 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection and is part of the character section, number 02. This page displays more RA cast costume and head patterns, continuing from the previous page, and numbered from 16 to 20. These variations include a white and gray camouflage pattern, a blue and red color scheme, a purple and green design, a red and white combination, and a light blue and white variation. As with the previous examples, Below each full body shot, you can see different head variations for each color scheme. This page is number 060 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page showcases further RA cast costume and head variations, continuing the theme from the previous page. Numbered 21 through 25, these variations present different color schemes for the RA cast model, including yellow and blue, green and orange, purple and white, red and black, and finally white and light blue. Below each full-body RA cast, you can see a selection of alternate head designs for each color variation. The page number at the bottom indicates this is page 061 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page introduces the RACA seal, which stands for Ranger Android Woman. Created by Sonic TM, the design process started unexpectedly when envisioning a nurse robot. The maid-like aesthetic surprisingly became popular, leading to the final design. The costume was slightly adjusted for the GameCube version, drawing inspiration from uniforms and nurse outfits. Although intended to have artificial skin, the designer, Wataru Watanabe, anticipated players wanting to recreate the look and purposefully included this detail. The page also features a section showcasing the RACA seal setting design, with an alternate color scheme in purple and white. This page continues showcasing the RACA seal character, displaying all costume and head patterns. It presents 5 distinct color variations for the RACA seal: pink, blue, orange, green, and purple. For each color scheme, you can see both the front and back views of the RACA seal's outfit, along with multiple head and hairstyle options available for customization. It appears these are the fundamental patterns selectable during character creation in the game. This is page 2 of the character section in the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material book, and page number 63 overall. This page continues the showcase of the RACA seal character's costume and head patterns. It presents further color variations, specifically black, white, light blue-green, and Rito range. For each of these color schemes, you're shown both the front and back views of the RACA Will's armor, and a selection of different head and hairstyle options available. These appear to be additional default patterns that players can choose from when creating their RACA seal character in the game. This page continues showing the RACA seal character variations, showcasing numbers 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Character 11 presents a blue and white color scheme. Number 12 is beige and white. Design 13 features green and white. Option 14 is purple and green. And lastly, number 15 shows an orange and black color combination. Each number displays both front and back views of the RACA seal armor, along with a selection of different head patterns for customization. The page number is 065, and it is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page showcases further RACA seal costume and head pattern variations, specifically numbers 16 through 20. Continuing from the previous page, number 16 presents a silver and gray color scheme. Design 17 features a burgundy and white look. Option 18 is rendered in yellow and black. Number 19 is pink and white. And finally, option 20 displays a blue and white color scheme. Each numbered design is shown with front and back views of the character model, and also includes a selection of alternate head patterns for customization, similar to the previous page. The next page showcases more RACA seal costume and head pattern variations, continuing from the previous designs, this time featuring numbers 21 through 25. Design 21 presents a yellow and gray color scheme. Design 22 is in green and gray. Number 23 features a purple and gray scheme. Design 24 uses a black and gray combination with blue highlights. And finally, Design 25 is pink and gray. Similar to the previous page, each design number shows front and back views of the RACA seal model, along with a selection of alternate head patterns for customization options. The page is titled Character 02 and is from the Phantasy Star Online Episodes 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The next page introduces the FO Marl, which stands for Force Human Man, a character class from Sonic Team. The text mentions that the Fomarl and Phone World classes were designed with an Asian, specifically Chinese, image in mind, and may have been inspired by Lutz from the original Phantasy Star. The designer, Yuki Takahashi, highlights the variety of hat and hairstyle options available for the Fomorl. The main image shows a male Fomorl in a yellow and gray robe holding a staff weapon. Below there are also design variations of female Fomorl characters in blue and white robes, shown from both front and back perspectives, also wielding staves. These are presented under the title Fomorl Setting Design, suggesting these are concept designs for the character class. This page showcases the Fomorl's costume and head patterns. You can see 4 different color variations for their outfits: red, blue, gold, and green, each numbered 1 through 4. For each costume color, there are front and back views, and a selection of head and hairstyle options. The top right text indicates this is Character 02 and shows basic patterns when selecting a character. This page is from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection, and is page 069. This page continues showcasing the Fomorl's costume and head patterns. We are now looking at costume variations numbered 5 through 8. Costume 5 is purple, Costume 6 is black, Costume 7 is white, and Costume 8 is brown. For each of these costumes, you can see both front and back views, and a variety of head and hairstyle options displayed above each full-body outfit. The page title is Fomorl All Costume and Head Pattern. This page is page 070 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page continues showing the Fomorl character variations with costume patterns numbered 9 to 12. Costume 9 is presented in blue, Costume 10 is in red, Costume 11 is a light blue or purple variation, and Costume 12 is yellow. For each costume you can see both front and back views of the outfit, along with a selection of different head and hairstyle options displayed above each full-body image. The page is titled Character 02, and it is page 071 from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page showcases more costume and head patterns for the Fomorl character class, continuing from the previous page. Costume patterns 13 to 16 are displayed here. Number 13 is a green outfit, number 14 is purple, Costume 15 is black with red accents, and Costume 16 is white with purple and gold trim. For each costume you can see both the front and back views of the character, and above each costume set there are various head and hairstyle options to choose from. This page continues showcasing character customization options, specifically for the Fomorl class, and it looks at more costume and head variations. Here we see costume patterns number 17 and 18. Costume 17 is shown in blue and purple, while Costume 18 is in green and purple. Above each costume set, you can see various head part options to further customize the character's appearance. This page showcases the Fomorl, which stands for Force Master Human Woman, and is presented as a Force class character. The main image is a full character artwork of a Fomorl, depicted in a blue and white costume and holding a staff. There's also a smaller image titled Fomorl Setting Design, which shows an alternate color scheme for the character. According to the text from SONICTEAM, the Fomorl was initially designed to have a similar image to a Forcemar, which ultimately wasn't adopted. The design direction for Fomorl shifted towards a Thai or Indonesian style, contrasting with the Force class's Chinese-like aesthetic. The design process involved experimenting with costume gradations, creating numerous variations, and emphasizing subtle decorative differences from the Forcemar design, encouraging viewers to observe these details. The next page here illustrates the all costume and head pattern variations for the Fomorl character class. It displays 4 main costume sets, numbered 1 through 4, each shown with front and back views, along with a variety of headgear choices just above. You can see these costumes in different color schemes like red and pink, blue and gray, yellow and purple, and finally, green and pink. Each costume set has multiple headgear styles that complement it. This is page 2 of the character section, and page 75 of the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection, and the note indicates these are the third set of basic patterns available when selecting the Fomorl during character creation. This page continues the all costume and head pattern showcase for the Fomorl character class, presenting costume sets numbered 5 through 8. Similar to the previous page, Each costume is shown in front and back views, with various headgear options displayed above. Costume Set 5 features a purple and gray color scheme, Set 6 is black and gray, Set 7 is white and gray, and finally Set 8 is pink and gray. This is page 2 of the character section and page 76 of the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. The next page continues the All Costume and Head Pattern Showcase, still focusing on the FO Moral character class. This page presents Costume Sets 9 through 12. Costume Set 9 features a blue and purple color scheme, while Set 10 is red. Moving on, Set 11 is a light blue and white combination, and finally Set 12 is yellow and white. Just like the previous page, each costume set is displayed with front and back views, along with a variety of headgear options shown above. This is page 2 of the character section and page 77 of the book. This page continues the FO Moral All Costume and Head Pattern Showcase, presenting costume sets 13 through 16. Costume Set 13 is designed in green and gray, while Set 14 features a purple color scheme. Moving on, Set 15 is black and red, and finally, Set 16 is white and gray. Similar to the previous page, each costume set is shown with front and back views, accompanied by a variety of headgear options displayed above and below. This page continues the character section, showcasing FO Moral Costume Sets 17 and 18. Costume Set 17 is presented in pink and red variations, while Set 18 features brown and gray color schemes. Similar to the previous page, each costume set is displayed with front and back views, accompanied by a variety of headgear options shown above and below the full-body images. At the bottom of the page, you can see the text indicating this is from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection, page 079. This page showcases the Ep1&2 Force Newman Man and is from Sonic Team. The text explains that Force Newman was created with the concept of a seeker or Taoist priest in mind, and they thought it would be really cool if he was like a prince. They considered elements like high boots and initially thought about making him look like a decidedly cool character, but in the end he became the most playful character among the forces. The text also mentions variations in head parts and accessories were considered. The page also features a phonium setting design image showing an alternate design of the character in a different outfit with a staff and various headgear options displayed above and to the side. This page showcases Ep1&2 costume and head patterns. It displays various costume variations numbered from 1 to 4, each with different color schemes like red and yellow, blue, orange and yellow, and green. Above each full costume set are headshot variations showcasing different headgear options available for the Ep1&2 character. A note on the page indicates these are basic pattern when selecting a character. 1. The next page continues showing Ep1&2 costume and head patterns, specifically pattern numbers 5 through 8. Like the previous page, you can see the full-body costume variations, along with close-up headgear options, above each numbered set. The costumes showcase different color themes, including purple and yellow, black and yellow, white and blue, and red and yellow. This page, numbered 082, is from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection. This page continues showcasing Ep1&2 costume and head patterns, now displaying pattern numbers 9 through 12. Similar to the previous page, you'll see full-body costume variations with front and back views, along with close-up headgear options positioned above each numbered set. The costumes are presented in different color schemes, including green and purple, red and orange, blue and yellow and brown. This page is number 083, and is also from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection. This page continues showing the Ep1&2 all costume and head pattern variations, displaying pattern numbers 13 through 16. You can see the full costume designs with both front and back views, and above each set of costumes are various headgear options. The costume colors include green and purple, yellow and black, blue and yellow, and red and white. There are also further headgear variations shown at the bottom of the page. This page is number 02 of the section, and page 084 of the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection. This page continues the Ep1&2 all costume and head pattern variations, displaying pattern numbers 17 and 18. You can see the full costume designs with both front and back perspectives, and above each costume set there are various headgear options. Costume pattern 17 features brown and purple colors, while pattern 18 showcases orange and yellow. You can see different headgear styles displayed above each costume set. This page introduces the Ep1&2 or Force Newman Woman character class. From Sonic Team, Yuki Takahashi explains that like the Ep1&2 design, the Ep1&2 design was inspired by a Pierrot or clown image, perhaps even more so for the Ep1&2. Takahashi was surprised that the Ep1&2 was approved, but strongly requested the inclusion of the Ep1&2 as it's a character they personally felt attached to, leading to detailed variations in costumes, hats, and hairstyles. The page shows two Ep1&2 design variations, one in black and pink wielding a staff, and another in purple and white, also with a different staff and headwear, under the title Ep1&2 Setting Design. This page showcases the all-costume and head pattern for the Ep1&2 character class. It displays four main color variations of the Ep1&2 outfit, numbered 1 through 4, each shown from the front and back. Above and below the main images, you can see close-ups of various headwear options that can be mixed and matched with these costumes. The page also mentions that there are 5 base patterns selectable when choosing the character, and that depending on the skin color selected, there are 4 color variations available, specifically color options 8, 9, 17, and 18. The next page continues the Ep1&2 all costume and head pattern showcase, this time displaying costume variations numbered 5, 6, 7, and 8. For each costume, you can see both front and back views of the character, along with close-up examples of various headwear options positioned above and below the main images. At the bottom, it mentions Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection, and the page number 088. The next page continues the Ep1&2 all costume and head pattern showcase, displaying costume variations numbered 9, 10, 11, and 12. For each costume, you can see both front and back views and various headwear options displayed above and below. The page mentions Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection, and page number 089 at the bottom. The next page continues showing the Ep1&2 all costume and head pattern variations, this time displaying costume numbers 13, 14, 15, and 16. Like the previous page, each costume is shown with front and back views of the character, and various headwear options are displayed above and below each full-body image. This page, number 090, is also from the Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Setting Material Collection book. This page, titled Character 02, continues to showcase Ep1&2 costume variations, presenting numbers 17 and 18 each. Each costume is displayed with front and back views, along with a selection of various headwear options shown above and below the full-body images. This page is number 091 from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection book. This page is titled SB Character, and features concept art for various sub-characters from the game. The first character shown is Rico, who is described by Yuki Takahashi from SONICTEAM as being designed with red as her image color, and envisioned as a cheerful scientist with glasses, as per the planning team's instructions. Rico is presented with setting illustrations and a CG image. Next is Tyrell, also shown in both illustration and CG. The page continues with images and names for Anna and Chloe, Noel, Shino, Irene, who is labeled as Secretary, Nurse, and Trunk Girl. This page showcases character designs featuring Natasha, Floen, Ellie, Paganini, and Noel. For Natasha and Floen, we see both their standard character art and CG model images. Ellie is presented with a CG render and setting illustrations. Paganini is also shown with setting illustrations and a CG image. Finally, Noel's CG image and setting illustrations are displayed. A note from SONICTEAM by Yuki Takahashi mentions that Ellie and Noel were slightly redesigned for their reappearance in Episode 2 after discussions with the planning team. It also playfully describes Paganini as Hopkins, but as an adult version. This page showcases the proto-design character initial setting illustrations, focusing on the Hunter and Ranger classes. For the Hunter class, we see initial design illustrations for human and Neiman types, with a note from SONICTEAM, mentioning the smooth decision for Android hunters, but trial and error for human and Neiman designs. They mention aiming for a bondage fashion older sister image for Neiman hunters, but then considered a more anti-style, expressing relief it didn't go that way. Moving to the Ranger class, the page displays initial illustrations for RMR, RA-Marl, FOMAR, and FO-Marl types. A note from SONICTEAM explains that the Rangcast Ranger type was initially very robotic, but adjusted to be less mechanical, since it was an android. For Rekicel, they initially envisioned a nursing robot, leading to a maid-like design unexpectedly. This page presents initial design illustrations for the Force class characters in Phantasy Star Online. We see initial illustrations for HU Cast Force, HUCA Seal Force, RA Cast Force, and RACA Seal Force. Also showcased are initial design illustrations for FO Marl Force and FO New Earl Force types. There's a section titled From Sonic Team, which discusses the design process for FO Marl. It mentions that FO Marl was the first design to be approved without major changes. Despite initially wanting to remove FO New Earl, they ultimately kept the class. The core concept for the Force class is that FOMAR and FO Marl are of Asian descent, while Nishman types are designed with a more priest or holy man motif. This page showcases proto-design illustrations for unused characters in Phantasy Star Online. Featured are initial concepts for different character types, including HANEWM, which is depicted as a robust, beast-like figure, and human types, shown as both a male and female. There are also hunter alien types, presented as robotic or cyborg figures, one resembling a bird. Humair is illustrated as a female character wielding a staff. A siren character, intended as an NPC, is also shown in its initial design. Lastly, Ranger alien types are presented, one with fox-like features. The From Sonic Team section mentions that initially, designs for all classes and races were explored. For HANEWM, a dwarf-like and sturdy build was considered. For HUMARL, a naive and weaker type was also explored. The Siren character concept was eventually discontinued, although it was considered as a potential sub-character at some point. These notes are attributed to Wataru Watanabe and Yuki Takahashi. This page is titled MAP and Enemy and is marked as 03, indicating it's likely part of a structured guide focusing on game elements. The page visually showcases different spaceships and locations in hexagonal frames against a starfield background, suggesting a focus on map areas and enemy encounters within Phantasy Star Online. This page is titled City Hunter Sonley Area and showcases concept art for locations within the City Hub area of Phantasy Star Online. The main image is a wide view of a central pathway leading to a large platform with a bright beam of light shooting upwards into space, depicting a central hub area. Smaller images show specific locations: the headquarters building, the medical center marked with a clear red cross symbol, and the online lobby with a prominent C's logo, all labeled as Episode 1 CG images. A developer comment from SONICTEAM by Akira Mikame mentions that the city is designed within a spaceship, balancing a sense of scale without feeling too vast or oppressive. They incorporated requests for locations like the medical center and shops, and aimed for a far future science fiction aesthetic, using elements like neon signs. The next page is titled Elabo CITY and features concept art for this area. The main image is a wide shot of a futuristic laboratory or city interior. Above this are three smaller images, all labeled as Episode 2 CG images. These show the city shop room, the City Hunters Guild, and the online lobby. A developer comment from SONICTEAM by Akira Mikami mentions that the lab area was designed to feel a bit secretive, with narrower and darker parts. They also considered usability and user requests, and while the shop room wasn't intended to be shady, the presence of appraisers might give that impression. This page is titled The Forest and displays concept art for this area. The main image is a CG render showcasing the forest area 1, depicting a lush forest environment with futuristic, white structures in the background. There are also setting illustrations, one showing a more detailed sketch of a path and stone walls within the forest area, and another sketch focusing on the futuristic building design integrated into the forest landscape. A developer comment from Sonicteam by Kosei Kitamura mentions that the forest was the very first map they worked on. They initially aimed for a serene and pastoral starting area, which gradually evolved into the current forest setting. They considered an RPG-like kingdom and tropical jungle elements for the area, which are reflected in the final design. This page, titled MAP and Enemy 03, continues showcasing the forest area, focusing on different parts of the map. We can see concept CG images for Forest Area 1 and Forest Area 2. These include views of pathways, forest details, and futuristic buildings integrated into the environment. The page also features images for Forest in Ultimate Mode, showing variations of Area 1 and Area 2, some with rain effects and different environmental elements. This page, titled The Forest Enemies, showcases various rappy enemy types that you'll encounter in the forest area. It features the standard rag rappy, alongside other variations such as the blue owl rappy, the white and green owl rappy, the pal rappy, and the pink love rappy. There's also a note mentioning the ultimate rappy being sturdy and to be careful when facing them, and another note about the love rappy saying, "Be lovely," likely referring to its pink and heart-themed design. Each rappy type is presented with concept illustrations. This page is titled MAP and Enemy, and it's showcasing enemy designs for the forest area in Phantasy Star Online. You can see concept illustrations for the Buma family, including the standard Buma, Go Buma, Gigo Buma, and Purple Buma. The Gigo Buma is noted as being a larger and tougher version of the Buma, specifically for the ultimate difficulty. There are also designs for enemies called Barthol and Toro. There are some handwritten notes, like one questioning if the Barthol is strong, and if it's like a Kamaitachi, which is a mythical creature. Another note for the Tomorrow mentions that its second set of arms needs to move properly, and not just dangle around. At the bottom, there's a comment from Sonic Team's Satoshi Sakai, who explains the design process. They considered using older Phantasy Star enemies at first, but felt Rappy was too cute to be just a basic enemy mascot. They realized they needed more common enemies in the forest, so they designed new ones, basing their skeletons on the evil shark from the caves area. The next page showcases more enemy designs for the forest area. It features the savage wolf, including a variation called barbarous wolf, and concept art for both. Next up is the Grolf, with variations called Grolf Goo and a possible ultimate version, along with its concept illustration. A handwritten note mentions the ultimate Grolf has a hunchback, and another note points out that the leader Grolf is red with one horn. Finally, the page shows the Mossmont, with both concept art and a side view sketch. This page continues showcasing enemy designs, this time focusing on the Monist, Mossparton, and Hildebeer families. The Monist is a plant-like creature, and the page features multiple illustrations, including concept art in both pink and blue variants. The handwritten note describes it as smooth and squishy and creepy. Next up is the Mossparton, a flying insect-like enemy, also shown with concept art and a side view illustration. Lastly, the Hildebeer family is presented with various illustrations of the Hildeblue, Hildelt, Hildetorl, and the standard Hildebeer. A developer comment from Sonicteam explains that due to time constraints and Verstraints 2, they mainly focused on changing the sides of existing enemies, but they aimed to make them appear strong using elements like turtles and armor. They also mention creating enemies based on data considerations and express regret that they couldn't implement a rare enemy due to memory limitations. This page showcases the cave area, or from the game. At the top, you can see a 3D rendered image labeled Cave Area 3 Image CG, depicting futuristic buildings built into a cave environment, complete with electric arcs. Below that are cave area setting illustrations, presenting two concept ideas for the cave. The first illustration shows a cave with water features and glowing blue crystals. A handwritten note on this one mentions puddles, and humorously asks, "Steak, is it open?" The second illustration depicts a lava-themed cave with fiery rocks, and a note confirms that lava motion is happening, or that the lava is animated. In a comment from Sonicteam, Kosei Kitamura explains that after the forest area, and the dragon encounter, the team consciously created a flow directly into an underground dungeon. They intentionally started with something different from the typical water and lava environments to surprise players. They hoped the 3 cave areas would offer a bit of a breather for players. Kitamura also points out that in Area 3, there's an increase in mechanical elements, and they'd be happy if players notice this change. This page is titled MAP and Enemy and marked as number 03. It showcases screenshots from the cave area. You can see images labeled Cave Area 1 Image/CG, which depict fiery magma-filled cave environments with some mechanical structures. Then there are Cave Area 2 Image/CG screenshots that show a cave with waterfalls and a rainbow, a more water-themed section. Finally, at the bottom you have Cave ULT Area 1 Image/CG and Cave ULT Area 3 Image/CG. These seem to be variations from the ultimate difficulty, featuring darker cave settings and, in Area 3, blue crystalline elements. These images provide visual examples of the different cave area themes and variations within Phantasy Star Online. This page is titled The Cave Enemies and continues the cave theme from the previous page. It showcases enemy designs for the cave area. At the top are plant-like enemies, featuring the Naru Lily, Ob Lily, and Poison Lily, each showing different color variations and an illustration of the Poison Lily design. Below these are shark-like enemies, the Evil Shark, Ball Shark, and Gill Shark, again with color variations and a design illustration for the Evil Shark. These are the common enemy types players will encounter in the cave areas of the game. This page, titled Map and Enemy and marked as page 03, showcases more enemy designs. It features 2 main enemy types, Valmer and Melkeek. For Valmer, we see multiple design illustrations and color variations, along with handwritten notes describing it as a Shark Ultimate Buma Abyss type, and another variation as a Shark Ultimate Boss type that is described as slimed and fast feeling. Moving on to Melkeek, again, we have design illustrations. The developer comment from SONICTEAM at the bottom explains that among the common enemies, the Evil Shark was the first to be designed and served as a base for other enemy creations. The developer mentions a preference for characteristic monsters rather than overly grotesque RPG enemies, drawing inspiration from monster or monster person archetypes, and acknowledges that some designs are noticeably influenced by specific monsters. This page, titled The Cave Enemies, showcases enemy designs found in cave environments. It features 3 distinct enemy types: Crimson Assassin, Glass Assassin, and Nano Drago. For each of these enemies, the page provides 2 illustrations, a standard depiction and a design illustration, likely showing the finalized or official design for the game. This page, titled MAP and Enemy 03, introduces 2 enemy types, the Buffy Slime and Pan Arms, from Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2. The Buffy Slime, described as a slime enemy, is shown in both pre- and post-transformation states and design illustrations, with notes about its internal appearance and movement. The Pan Arms enemy is also featured with design illustrations and further variations, called Michogium and Hydrium, which appear to be related forms of the Pan Arms. A developer note from Sonic Team discusses the enemy creation process, mentioning considering enemy movements, attacks, and visual appeal beyond typical slimes to surprise players. This page showcases the Mine area, also known as Kudu in Japanese. It presents both a CG rendered image and a setting illustration of the mine area, giving different visual perspectives. A note from Sonic Team mentions that this area was designed using cutting-edge technology of the time. They mention that the map was created with several iterations and considered inorganic elements for its aesthetic. The team also focused on expressing a sense of depth and vertical space, incorporating factory-like imagery and cave-like structures in places to enhance the environment. This page continues the showcase of the mine area, presenting further image CGs of different sections within it. We can see various environments labeled as Mine Area 1, Mine Area 2, and Mine ULT Area 2. The images provide visual representations of these distinct locations within the mine, showing different layouts, structures, and color palettes. These are all image CG renders, giving us a clear look at what the areas are designed to look like in the game. This page showcases the enemy designs for the mine area, featuring two main enemy types. First, we see the Canadian enemy, displayed in various color variations like green, yellow, and red, along with design illustrations. The page also highlights the Dubchick enemy, showing different versions like the standard Dubchick, Gilchick, and Dubdutch, again with design illustrations. These are all enemy concepts from the mine area. This page is focused on showcasing enemy designs, this time highlighting the Shinoa Beat and Gyaran's enemy types. You can see design illustrations for both enemy types. For the Shinoa Beat, there are color variations like blue, gold, and red, alongside the standard Shinoa Beat design. Similarly, for the Gyarans, there's the standard green design, a bronze variation which is blue, and a design illustration. There's also a note from SONICTEAM explaining that the Shinoa Beat was designed to be distinct from player characters, leading to the addition of features like horns and color variations for better visual clarity and easy identification. They also focused on detailed mechanical parts and attack animations, emphasizing that they are robots. This page is number 115 from the Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, Setting Material Collection. This page showcases the Ruins area, also known as in Japanese, and displays various images related to it. The main image at the top is a Ruins, ULT, Area 1 image CG, depicting a purple-toned, futuristic ruin environment with some fleshy, organic-looking creatures scattered around. Below, there are two Ruins area setting illustration images. The one on the left shows a sketch of a tree-like organic structure integrated within the ruins. The image on the right is a darker scene, possibly underground or underwater ruins, with low visibility. A note from SONICTEAM, attributed to Akira Mikame, explains the concept behind the ruins design, stating it represents a civilization more advanced than Pioneer 2. The design emphasizes a softer, biotechnology-influenced structure rather than purely linear and inorganic lines. Furthermore, to help players orient themselves, parts of the spaceship are incorporated into the ruins environment to provide familiar landmarks. The next page continues showcasing the ruins area, with a focus on different sections and levels within it. It's labeled MAP and Enemy 03 and features several images, all marked as Image CG. We can see renders of Ruins Entrance, Ruins Area 2, Ruins Area 1, Ruins ULT, Area 2, Ruins Area 3, and Ruins ULT, Area 3. These images give us a visual tour of the ruins layout, showing various rooms and corridors in both the standard and more challenging ultimate difficulties. The environments maintain the biotech and futuristic aesthetic mentioned previously, with a mix of metallic structures and organic-looking elements. This page showcases the ruins enemies, diving into the creatures you'll face in this zone. We're looking at concept art for three main enemy types: Volclaw, Claw, and Dimension. For the Volclaw, we get several angles and poses, showing off its insect-like, segmented body and menacing claws. Then there's the Claw enemy, a sleek, almost manta ray-like creature with sharp edges. Finally, the Dimension is featured with its variations: RA Dimension, Standard Dimension, and So Dimension. These dimensions look like humanoid insectoids with sharp, blade-like limbs. Each enemy section includes setting illustration notes, suggesting these are design concepts for the game. This page continues the showcase of enemies from the Ruin Zone. It presents concept art for four distinct enemy types: Alan, Melon, Deldy, and Dark Gunner. Alan and Melon seem to be variations of the same enemy, with Melon having a pink and purple color scheme, while the standard Alan is green. And notes mention their parts are basically floating. Deldy also has a variation described as Ultimate Dugu, Boss, noted to have a cooler design, suggesting it's a stronger boss version. Finally, the Dark Gunner is depicted as a spider-like machine with a core, and there's a sketch highlighting its core opening attack. A note from SONICTEAM details the design philosophy, explaining that these ruins enemies are intentionally surreal, incomprehensible, and unlike previous enemies. Their designs are based on a unified black color scheme with subtle color variations, dark textures, and deliberately obscure features to make them feel completely alien and unknowable. This page showcases more enemies from the Ruin Zone, focusing on the Del Saber, Indabella, and Dark Bella. The Del Saber is presented with two images, One is a standard design illustration, and another more colorful version includes handwritten notes describing it as having a gekima characteristic, making a buchu buchu sound, and swaying in its movement. We also see design illustrations for both Dark Bella and Indibella, along with an additional image of Dark Bella simply labeled with its name. This page highlights more enemies in the MAP and Enemy section. Continuing from the previous page, it introduces the Chaos Bringer and its variant Dark Bringer, along with the Chaos Sorcerer and its variant Grand Sorcerer. The Chaos Bringer and Chaos Sorcerer are presented with setting illustrations. We can also see that the Chaos Sorcerer uses bits, described as changing between attack and recovery types, indicated by color changes. The Sonic team notes reveal that the Del Saber was the first enemy designed and became the base for other dark enemies and Dark False. They also confirm that both the Chaos Sorcerer and Chaos Bringer are remakes from older Phantasy Star games, with designs that respect the past but aren't strictly bound by it. This page showcases the VR Temple, described as an ancient temple, and it's a location designed for battles in Phantasy Star Online. The designer Akira Mikame from Sonic Team mentions the statues of the governor and weapons were included because it is a VR environment. He also explains that obstacles and gimmicks were intentionally placed, considering its use for battles. And to prevent a claustrophobic feeling, a distant sea view was incorporated into the design, which was redrawn until they were satisfied with it. The images show a stone temple structure with a central tower, ancient carvings, and ruins, presented in a daylight scene and sunset views in the smaller image panels. This page introduces the VR spaceship map, another location designed for battle mode. Kosei Kitamura from Sonic Team mentions this map, like the VR Temple, is also created for strategic battles, featuring different elevations and spots where players can see each other from gaps. For both VR maps, they aim to avoid a closed-in feeling by minimizing ceilings and walls during development. The images showcase various areas within the VR spaceship, including a circular platform with holographic displays, corridors with hexagonal patterns, and exterior walkways with futuristic city views and flying vehicles. This page introduces Galdabal Island, showcasing concept art and a CG image of the location. The CG image presents a central management area with futuristic buildings integrated with natural elements like greenery. The concept art illustrations depict various aspects of Galdabal Island, including a seaside cliff view with annotations pointing out scenic spots in the ocean, and another illustration showcasing lush vegetation and water features. A note from SONICTEAM mentions that the island was conceived with the idea of creating something beyond the scope of typical PSO maps, emphasizing extreme elevation differences and dramatic landscape changes from dense forests to open coastlines to maximize the sense of scale and beauty. Kosei Kitamura is credited for this comment. This page continues showcasing Galdabal Island, presenting CG images of various areas. It features the dense forest area, the highland area, the east dense forest area, and the coast area. The page also highlights the central management area, showing both a wide coastal view and a closer look at the futuristic structures within it. This page showcases enemy designs from Galdabal Island. It features the plant-based Marilia enemies, including the Mariltas, Marilia, and Maricaral. The Maricaral is noted as a jungle flower mid-boss and is described as moving with vine-like legs and having wriggling tentacles. There are also annotations pointing out features like a cannon that doesn't attack, and a flower head that can open and close like a pomegranate. Below these plant enemies are the robotic Cyno enemies, the Cyno Spigel, and Cyno Beryl. Each enemy type is labeled as a setting illustration. This page showcases more enemy designs, featuring the insect-like G-I-Gue and Gi enemies, alongside the beast-like Gibbles. The G-I-Gue section includes setting illustrations and notes on its attacks, describing a confusion-inducing missile and a giant needle laser attack. The Gi is another variation also shown as a setting illustration. Below, the Gibbles is presented with setting illustrations and variations called Zolgibbon and Woolgibbon. This page showcases the seabed plant area, displaying a CG render of the plant upper level. According to Sonic Team, the plant's setting illustrations reveal the design process, starting with a darker, ruin-like concept, which then evolved to incorporate aquarium-like elements, particularly in the upper levels. The developers highlight the importance of the subtle depiction of water and glass. Conversely, they explain that the lower levels are intentionally designed with low ceilings and dim lighting to evoke tension and fear. The page also includes setting illustrations of the plant environment. This page presents more visuals of the seabed plant area, showcasing CG renders for both the plant upper level and the plant lower level. It's labeled as MAP and Enemy 03, suggesting it's detailing the map and enemy layouts for this section of the game. The images illustrate the contrasting designs of the plant, with brighter, more open upper levels and darker, more confined lower levels, just like the developers described in the previous page's discussion of the design process and atmosphere. The page visually reinforces the aquarium-like feel of the upper plant levels and the tension-inducing lower levels. This page showcases the seabed enemies. Starting with the Recon, it's a small, round, frog-like robot enemy that attacks by generating a photon cutter when it spots you. Key parts are highlighted as its eye, bomb missile, light, and stabilizer. Next up is the Rekobokusu, which is depicted as a box-like enemy. Then we have the Dorumu Orumu, illustrated as a large, tentacled, squid-like creature, even nicknamed Squid-kun, as a common seabed enemy. There's a note mentioning they wanted it to move in a virus-like way, and a question about whether there are enough polygons for the body. The Morufosu is shown, resembling a moth or butterfly-like mechanical enemy. Lastly, there's the Dorumudaru, which appears to be another variation of the Dorumu Orumu enemy. These are all enemies you would encounter in the seabed area of the game. This page introduces more enemies, starting with the Sinozele, an orange robot enemy. Next is the Sinozoa, a blue robot enemy, and there is a leg part sketch associated with the Sinozoa from PSO episodes 1 and 2. Moving on, we see the Del Depth, a tall, slender enemy, and finally the Delbiter, which is like a four-legged creature. A note from SONICTEAM mentions that for episode 2 enemies, new members joined the team, including Mr. Hosamura and himself, and they were responsible for designing enemies like Del Depth and Delbiter. They highlight the variety of enemies in episode 2, including those with multiple attributes in a single area, allowing for more elaborate attack patterns and making the creation process very enjoyable. The next page showcases Proto Design, featuring early enemy design drafts. You can see various enemy types, such as the Sea Sathers remake, a crab-like creature, and the Twin Arms remake, a four-legged design. There are also early concepts for a plant-type enemy, an aquatic enemy which looks like a serpent, a beam enemy, and a beastman-type biomonster. Additionally, the page presents designs for a combatant enemy, the Grass Assassin, which is mantis-like, and multiple machine-type enemy concepts, including various robotic weapon designs. Finally, there's the Dark-type small fry fish warrior and the Chaos Sorcerer remake, a robed figure with a staff. A note from SONICTEAM describes these as enemy prototypes considered for the game, initially categorized broadly as biological, altered beast-like, mechanical, dark, and large types. They mentioned that while many were close to the final designs, some were quite different. They also emphasized the process of refining and redrawing these designs to incorporate the basic characteristics of each attribute, ultimately leading to the final illustrations. This page continues showing more unused enemy design plans from SONICTEAM. It features illustrations of various enemy types that were considered but ultimately not used in the game. We can see a dark weapon soldier and a dark weapon giant enemy, which look like humanoid robotic figures. There's also a seabed plant enemy that resembles a large, scaled beast. Moving on, we have an aquatic enemy, with concept sketches showing its parts. Next is a progenesis giant enemy, a large, horned beast. Below this section are more remake designs, such as an amphibian frog remake, a flame newt remake, a poison fang remake, which is a snake creature, and a fractal ooze remake, which appears to be a slug-like enemy. Finally, we see a king rappy, a large bird-like creature, and an ultimate desaber. The text from SONICTEAM explains these are unused enemy designs and illustrations. They mention that during the early stages of development, they considered many remakes of past Phantasy Star series enemies. For version 2, they also created new enemies for the ultimate difficulty, but due to limitations with storage capacity and time, they were unable to include them in the final game. This page showcases proto-design concepts, focusing on initial setting illustrations for backgrounds and enemies. Firstly, it presents the Pioneer 2 initial design proposal from SONICTEAM, They aimed to create Pioneer 2 as a dome-shaped city that resembled a colossal spaceship. The design process involved brainstorming and eventually incorporating the idea of utilizing the PSO mag system to refine the final look. The page then transitions to the Ancient Spaceship Initial Design Proposal, also from SONICTEAM. This ancient spaceship was envisioned as a city-like structure as well. They created numerous rough sketches to conceptualize its layout. The interior areas are planned as Area 1 being the spaceship deck, Area 2 the engine room, and Area 3, the core, where Dark Falls is sealed. A map image of the ancient spaceship is shown, highlighting areas like the entrance route, deck as Spaceship Interior 1, engine room as Spaceship Interior 2, the DF core as Spaceship Interior 3, the energy overload path, and an underground connection point from the plant ruins. The illustrations show various views and sketches of both Pioneer 2 and the ancient spaceship designs, along with a close-up image of what looks like a Dark Falls-type creature, and a visual of the DF core area. Satoshi Sakai and Akira Mikame from SONICTEAM are credited for their insights. This page focuses on the boss enemy, prominently featuring the number 04. The page showcases images of a large spaceship structure, possibly related to a boss encounter. Additionally, there are hexagonal frames containing concept art of alien creature designs, likely representing boss enemies encountered in the game. This page showcases 2 dragon bosses from Phantasy Star Online. The top image features the dragon boss, depicted in a fiery cave environment. Below it, the silver dragon boss is shown, set against a starry night sky backdrop. The text next to each image indicates Dragon Image CG and Sil Dragon Image CG respectively, signifying these are computer-generated representations of the bosses. This page is about the Dragon and Silver Dragon boss enemies from Phantasy Star Online, and is number 04 in the boss enemy section. According to Sonic Team's notes, the Dragon boss was the first enemy designed for the game. Satoshi Sakai mentions a preference for 2-legged dragon designs, leading to the wyvern type we see here, possibly influenced by their work on Panzer Dragoon. As the first boss players encounter, they wanted the dragon to be large and easily recognizable. The silver dragon is described as feeling stronger than the standard dragon, and is noted to have fur due to being in a cold environment. The silver dragon is also referred to as the ultimate ice dragon, in a handwritten note which also mentions that its wings should be bigger. There are design illustrations and CG image examples shown for both the dragon and silver dragon, and a close-up of the dragon's face is also highlighted. This page features CG images showcasing the Darol Li and Dalra Lai boss enemies. The top image is of Darol Li, rendered in CG, in what looks like an in-game environment with green liquid. Below it is a CG image of Dalra Li, shown against a plain black background, highlighting its detailed design and textures. Both are centipede-like creatures, with skull-like heads and tentacle-like appendages. This page focuses on the boss enemy, Darol Li, and its variant Dalra Li. There are images showing CG renders of Darol Li in what's called bone face mode and its standard form, alongside a setting illustration. Below, there's a setting illustration for Dalra Li and a CG image of it. The text from SONICTEAM explains that the concept for bosses was to make them gigantic and worm-like. The designer mentions that this was their first time designing something like this, and they studied crustaceans and invertebrates to represent strength and poison. They mention struggling with expressing the grossness in motion. The skull-like or Dokuro helmet head was added because of a request to give it a distinctive face, drawing it with tentacles as well. This is signed by Satoshi Sakai. This page showcases CG renders of the boss characters Darol Li and Dalra Li from Phantasy Star Online. The top image is Darol Li in its standard form, with its orange exoskeleton and glowing blue core. Below it is Dalra Li, the green variant, also in a CG render and with the same glowing blue core design. The captions below the images indicate these are Polito Image CG. This page introduces Volume Opt, a boss enemy. It displays various images, including a design illustration, CG renders of Volume Opt and Volume Opt version 2, and a CG render of Volume Opt's stage. A note from Masatoshi Yasumura of SONICTEAM mentions that Volume Opt was initially conceived as a combining robot, but ultimately became an AI-controlled ultimate defense system. Yasumura explains the design process focused on creating attack gimmicks suitable for Volume Opt's final form after struggling with how it should attack. This page showcases the design illustrations for Darkfalz's first and third forms. The top image is a CG render of Darkfalz's first form, which is depicted as a massive, multi-headed dragon-like creature in a dark and stormy environment. Below that is a CG render of Darkfalz's third form, showing a humanoid figure with blade-like wings set against a stark black background. The text labels these as Darkfalz First Form Image CG and Darkfalz Third Form Image CG respectively, indicating these are visual representations of Darkfalz in different stages. This page is focused on the boss enemy Darkfalz and its different forms. It features design illustrations and CG renders. There are images for Darkfalz's first form as both a setting illustration and a CG image, showing its dragon-like, multi-part body. It also shows a CG image of Darkfalz's second form and a setting illustration of its third form, which is more humanoid with blade-like wings. A note from Sonic team designer Satoshi Sakai explains that they struggled with the initial design, finding a standard humanoid form too generic and hard to attack. They settled on a Buddha statue concept for the first form, imagining it as a dragon meditating on a pedestal. He mentions that as Darkfalz evolves through its forms, the design becomes sharper and more refined, and that its body is made up of elements taken from various enemies encountered earlier in the game. This page showcases the Bao Ray enemy from Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2. Developed by Sonic Team, the Bao Ray's design is described by Masatoshi Yasumura as being simulated in the de role style, drawing inspiration from various oceanographic creatures like shrimp, crab, and shellfish for its silhouette and coloring. The Big Ray and Ul Ray images are mentioned to be based on the horseshoe crab in terms of their design. The page features CG renders and a setting illustration of Bao Ray, along with smaller CG renders of Big Ray and Ul Ray. The next page introduces the Gold Dragon, a Thunder Dragon enemy designed for Phantasy Star Online Episode 2. Developed by SONICTEAM. Its design is noted as being intentionally different from the dragon seen in Episode 1, with a sharper, lightning trod-like appearance. Satoshi Sakai from the team mentions that they focused on the dragon's form, even considering how it would walk with its forelegs on the ground. Being designed for a VR setting, the attack patterns were developed to integrate with the stage environment, a collaborative effort with the background team. You can see CG renders and setting illustrations of the Goliath dragon on this page. This page showcases the Gao Griffon, another enemy from Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, specifically the jungle area boss version of the Griffon. Developed by Sonic Team, the page features both CG renders and setting illustrations of the Gao Griffon. A note on the illustration points out that its wings can be inflated, and the design incorporates elements of both a griffin and a mammoth. Satoshi Sakai from SONICTEAM explains that they wanted a new type of boss and considered a four-legged design. They aimed to create something more intimidating than a typical flying griffin, envisioning a massive creature charging with heavy footsteps, hence the incorporation of elephant or mammoth features, resulting in the image of a winged mammoth. This page introduces Olga Flo, another enemy from Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2, and the text notes its basic concept is hand, contrasting with Darkfalz, who is based on a mouth. Developed by Sonic Team, the page shows both CG renders and design illustrations of Olga Flo's first form. Satoshi Sakai from SONICTEAM explains that Olga Flo is envisioned as a materialized Floen, with a design based on a hand about to grab, hence the five-leg design in its first form. Annotations on the design sketch point out side views, closed chest fingers, photon arms, and the 5 legs, also mentioning it will pollute or taint. The text refers to it as Proto-False 1, Olga Flo, suggesting a connection to the Darkfalz enemy. The next page presents Olga Flo's second form with image CG renders. These visuals showcase a significant transformation from the first form, showing a more humanoid figure wielding a massive sword and accompanied by drone-like creatures. The top image is set against a cave-like background, while the bottom image is presented against a black backdrop, highlighting the details of Olga Flo's design. This form of Olga Flo continues the theme from the previous page, expanding on the concept of a powerful enemy related to Darkfalz, referred to as Proto-Falz 1, Olga Flow. This page showcases the concept illustrations for Olga Flow's second form, also known as Proto-Phals 2. The top illustration depicts the standard second form, noting that while the face is based on Olga Flow's first form, the mask is now removed. It also points out that the chest wings are open and constantly wiggling. The body color is described as being similar to Flowen's hunter suit. It's mentioned that Olga Flow in this form is about the size of a Gundam. The bottom illustration shows Olga Flow's second form in Berserk mode. This version appears in a negative-positive color scheme, creating a distinct look. A note from Sonic Team by Satoshi Sakai highlights that the second form becomes bipedal and features 5 fingers on its chest that open up. They also mention incorporating elements of Flowen into the design of the second form, such as the body color resembling a hunter suit, and even adding a beard. Finally, they mention that the MAGs, Gale and Gilles, were created due to a request from the planning team. This page is titled Proto Design and shows early concept illustrations for boss enemies. There's a section from Sonic Team where they mention that the dragon design was relatively quick to create because they liked dragons, but it ended up being doubled in size programmatically after the initial design. They also struggled with the cave-level boss design, initially considering a mammoth but ultimately going with a long enemy. They also mentioned both the dragon and Derola boss designs caused the planners difficulty in figuring out how players would fight them, considering their size and design. The page features a dragon image sketch showing concept art for a dragon boss. There are also cave-level boss enemy idea sketches, displaying concepts for a cave boss enemy, including a colored version and a black and white sketch with an action pose and a small human figure for scale. Finally, there are volume opt image sketches showcasing concept art for the boss volume opt, as well as stage design concepts. This page is titled Boss Enemy and continues showcasing the development of boss characters, moving from concept sketches to more refined ideas and notes. It features a large illustration of a battle against volume opt, a boss enemy, with a player character wielding a photon saber. There are also concept illustrations for volume opt's core design, showing different angles and color schemes. Furthermore, you can see design sketches for Dark Belts, another enemy, exploring different poses and weapon variations. The page also includes an image sketch for Dark False, the iconic boss, depicting a monstrous and imposing figure. Interestingly, there's a Dark False High-Speed Form Plan 1 illustration, revealing an early concept for a fast, agile version of Dark False. In a section titled From SONICTEAM, the developers mentioned that Volume Opt was a particularly challenging boss to design. They originally envisioned it as a combining robot, but ultimately, the final design didn't retain a clear motif from that initial idea. Regarding Dark False, they leaned into a bulky, Del Saber-like image and decided against making it walk on 2 legs, opting instead to have it seated on a pedestal, resembling a Buddhist statue, which they felt was a better approach. This section is credited to Suase Sakai and Masatoshi Yasumura. This page is titled Proto Design, showcasing initial design illustrations for boss enemies. From Sonic Team, it's mentioned that for Episode 2, thanks to polygon count improvements, they could create boss enemies with more nuanced forms and details. Despite time constraints, they were able to refine designs significantly compared to before, especially focusing on facial features. The design for Olga Flow was initially conceived as a large Del Saber. The page presents image sketches for Gal Griffin and Gold Dragon, alongside image and idea sketches for Olga Flow, illustrating the early stages of boss enemy development. This page, titled Weapon and Mag, and numbered 05, showcases various weapons and magis from Phantasy Star Online. The page uses hexagonal frames to display images of different weapon types and MAGs available in the game. It appears to be a visual guide highlighting the equipment players can utilize in Phantasy Star Online. This page, titled Saber Series from Sonic Team, delves into the design process of sabers in Phantasy Star Online. The designers mention that sabers were planned from the initial game concept, drawing inspiration from lightsabers as it's a sci-fi setting. They explain that they expanded on weapon variations based on existing weapon descriptions, ensuring blade lengths were consistent to differentiate sabers from swords. They took inspiration from everyday items, alongside weapon references for their designs. The page showcases various saber-type weapons, including the standard saber, Kaladbolg, Durandal, and Elysian. There's also the DB sword, described as Judgment, and noted for its beam and freezing capabilities. Humorously, Akiko Obasan's frying pan is also featured, likely as a joke weapon. The page also includes an illustration of a female character wielding a saber. This page showcases more weapon designs from Sonic Team for Phantasy Star Online, focusing on the Sword and Knuckle weapon series. In the Sword series section, the designers mentioned their initial idea for swords to emit photon blades during combat, but this concept was ultimately removed. They highlight Floan's sword and express enthusiasm for creating new visual expressions for it using the GameCube's capabilities. Featured sword designs include the Standard Sword, Dragon Slayer, Floan's Greatsword, and Last Survivor. The Knuckles series section explains the design rationale, stating that Knuckles were created for players who prefer barehanded combat, as bare hands were considered visually lonely. The Rocket Punch feature for Knuckles was added due to popular user demand. Weapon examples displayed are the Brave Knuckle and Sonic Knuckle, alongside an illustration of a female character equipped with Sonic Knuckles. The next page focuses on the Partisan weapon series from Sonic Team. It shows designs for various Partisan-type weapons including the Standard Partisan, Brunak, Vijaya, Guidebook, Soul Eater, Bashausen, and Imperial Pick. For the Brunak, designers describe it as having a long beam part and a short body, with a storage state and a rectangular text switch on the body, and note that it includes batteries. The Vijaya is described as being related to the Imperial Pick series, possibly a prototype, and has a meta-absorption quality with a gold color. The designers hope to add light and semi-transparency to it, mentioning a meta-wind style. The Guidebook is noted as being in the same style as the Dragon Slayer, and involves rotation. The Soul Eater's design was decided after considering how a scythe-like weapon would slash with partisan motions, leading to a reversed blade design for outward slashing. A note from SONICTEAM explains that partisans are designed with photon batteries inside the shaft. They put a lot of effort into the Brunak's gimmicks and hoped they could be reproduced well. The Soul Eater was designed because they wanted a scythe, but had to work around the partisan motions, eventually deciding on the reversed blade design for outward slashing. This comment is attributed to Wataru Watanabe and Yuki Takahashi. This page showcases the Slicer weapon series from Sonic Team, detailing their design philosophy. The designers aimed for freedom of weapon action with slicers, creating them with exaggerated features and noting the fun in testing their flying blade range and angles. They mentioned the Rainbow Baton as having preset functionalities, and wanted to ensure slicers were viable for Force users. Featured are designs for several types of slicers. The Brave Disc, described as classic and gold with a rotating handle, non-slip grip, and leaf decorations. The Assassin Slicer with an extendable blue blade. The Liberator Disc, which projects a purple beam blade. And the Rainbow Baton, a colorful and complex design described as a Magic Machine hybrid, with a trigger for rhythm-based action, adjustable range, and a camera-like matte brown finish. A general slicer design is also shown. This page focuses on the Dagger and Claw weapon series from Sonic Team. The designers explain that the Dagger was initially planned as a simple, reverse-grip short sword, but they evolved it to be more visually interesting. The Blade Dance weapon is designed to look like it's dancing, and was intended to be even cooler and more elegant. They were restricted from making claws too similar to existing characters like Neely or Fell, and they mentioned rapidly creating CG models as weapon concepts were finalized. We see 4 weapon designs here. The Standard Dagger, designed to be wielded in both hands. The Blade Dance, which has a blade that extends and retracts with a beam effect that transitions from blue to green, and is designed to inflict paralysis. The Bloody Art, described as glowing and inscribed with spells, said to only leave scratches in the air but with a lightning strike effect. And finally the Dragon Claw, which is shaped like a dragon. The next page showcases the handgun series of weapons. We start with the Custom Ray Ver.00, which seems to be a base model. Then there's the standard handgun, described as having a non-rotating, glowing cylinder and a digital trigger switch, with a magazine and silver plating with internal fibers. The Varista is presented as an improved and advanced handgun model, noted for being slightly longer and also featuring a light element. The Bravest handgun has an optical and dot sight, with light projected from a slit, and it has a shorter, hollow grip. Finally, the Heaven Punisher is described as a legendary rifle, exclusively for the Ranger class, noted for being small, lightweight, classic in design, black and silver in color, and is considered the strongest weapon for Rangers. This page showcases the rifle series of weapons. First up is the standard rifle, which seems to have a suppressor and a small camera attached, with 2 light-emitting parts. It also features a monitor, magazine, trigger, and magazine release. And it's noted that the full version likely has a stock. Next, we have the VISC 235W rifle. This one has a laser pointer and a barrel that extends when firing in the Z direction, but remains short for portability. It's designed to paralyze enemies and shoots a beam from the bottom. The design suggests a left-handed grip on the side of the barrel. The Justy 23 ST rifle is shown next, highlighting its muzzle. It has a feature where the inside glows, and it's described as having the enemy's HP, indicating a powerful effect. Finally, the Vulse Mk2 rifle is presented, noting that the stock is attached to the right side of the weapon. This page is all about weapon and mag designs from Sonic Team. They mention the Visk and Frame Visit rifles are from the same maker, and the Justy rifle is also from the same manufacturer. The spread needle rifle was originally designed as a shotgun-like weapon for close-range shots, but it ended up feeling more like a rifle. The motion for the spread needle and egg blaster is the same as the standard rifle. The Angel Harp rifle was designed to have a classic rifle feel, using various reference materials, and it has a sparkling effect like the gold when hitting enemies. The page showcases the spread needle rifle, the egg blaster, the Angel Harp rifle, and the Holy Ray mag, with images and descriptions. The next page continues with weapon designs from Sonic Team, this time focusing on the machine gun series. It showcases 4 weapons. The standard machine gun, which is described as an older, steel weapon with a laser pointer, meant to be held in both hands and have a matte, slightly rough texture. Then there is the HS-25 Justy, a metallic weapon that lights up and has rotating parts. The M&A-60 Vice is an angular, black weapon with a rotating drum that has a spell-like design and internal lighting, and it also has a freezing ability. Lastly, the L&K-14 Combat is a plastic, short-barreled minigun with a maze pattern and a battery, which was designed to look like something seen on TV. Sonic Team mentions they made machine guns old-fashioned in this era because of the Jot setting, and that the Vice was made to look a bit magical and evil, while the Justy is designed to match the image of the Justy rifle. They simply describe the combat's design as looking like a combat weapon. This page continues the weapon designs from Sonic Team, now focusing on the Shot series weapons, described as being still under development and different from machine guns. The designers mentioned they initially considered powerful motion and a large barrel, like a shotgun, and ultimately arrived at a crossbow or slingshot-like design. Regarding rarity, they differentiated the coloring to match the special effects of the shot weapons. The page features 5 shot weapons. First is the Crash Bullet, followed by the shot itself, which is described as a prototype from early development with powerful output, meant for battle mode. Next is the Final Impact, stated to be made with high-density photon compression, and it is noted that the shot comes out from the front. The Meteor Smash is showcased next, with notes pointing to internal blocks and blocks for shooting. Finally, there's the Flame Visit, which has a fuel tank, and notes indicate the motion is shared with the shotgun, and that the pattern on the wings is a design. The next page showcases the Keen series weapons from Sonic Team. The designers mentioned the challenge in differentiating between Keen and Rod-type weapons initially. They wanted the Rod to be able to continuously hit enemies, while the Keen was weaker in the beginning. As these are weapons for forces, magic users, they shifted the design focus to be more visually interesting and playful rather than purely focusing on strength. The Flower Keen, for example, was specifically designed to resemble a tulip. The page features 5 Keen-type weapons. First is the Keen itself, a staff topped with a green gem and intricate designs. Next is the Windmill, a staff with blue rotating blades at the top. Following this is the Evil Curse, a darker staff with a central eye and bat-like wings. The Summit Moon is shown next, featuring a glowing blue orb and crescent-shaped elements. Lastly, there is the Flower Keen, shaped like a pink tulip. The designer comments are attributed to Wataru Watanabe and Yuki Takahashi. This page showcases Rod series weapons from Sonic Team. There are 5 distinct Rod-type weapons detailed here. First, there is the basic Rod, followed by the playful Rabbit Wand, which features a large rabbit head design. Then there's the iconic Psycho Wand. The page also presents the Battle Barge and the Brave Hammer. And finally, the Alive Akor. Designer comments from Watanabe and Takahashi at the bottom mention that the Rabbit Wand was created almost on a whim while drawing with Hildebeer's cane, and they were surprised it was approved by Sasakai. This page features the Wand series weapons from Sonic Team, expanding on the Rod series from the previous page. It details 6 different types of wands. First is the Standard Wand, described as basic, with similar volume to the basic rod. Next is the lightning staff Indra, designed with African tribal motifs. Following this is the ice staff Dagon, described as having an ice relief design and a shaft that glows. The flame staff Agni is depicted with a flower-like head and a Chinese image in mind. There's also the Masshausen, and lastly, the twinkle star, which is described as a counterpart to Summit Moon and designed concurrently. The designer comments at the bottom, from SONICTEAM, mention that these wand designs were initially called batons. They aimed for symmetrical designs that rotate up and down like a kuru-kuru, and are set to be the strongest in magic power. The designs incorporate Chinese and African influences, reflecting the game's themes of ancient civilizations and magic weaponry. The twinkle star is designed to be paired with the Summit Moon weapon, showing they were conceived together. The designers are Watanabe and Takahashi. This page focuses on the Card and Talus weapon series developed by Sonic Team for Forces in the GC version, expanding the weapon options. The design concept stemmed from the idea of ranged attacks for forces, leading to the creation of card-like weapons. The page showcases various cards with different symbols and color palettes. It also features the Talus, showing both the weapon itself and an in-game action shot of a Force character, presumably Gadiana, wielding it. Additionally, the page presents mag designs, specifically Mafu and Hitogata, which were inspired by Chinese charms, according to the design notes. Finally, there's a section on the Motav Prophecy book, described as a hidden book filled with incredible prophecies, jokingly suggested as something to trick players into searching for. The design comments are from Wataru Watanabe and Yuki Takahashi. This page continues the exploration of mags, showcasing various designs and types. Starting with the mag design itself, depicted in blue with a yellow eye, there are also variations, such as Karuke, which looks like a bird-like mag, Rudra, which appears to be a butterfly wing-inspired mag, and Valna, a silver and yellow design. Further down the page are Glitra, an orange and red mag, and Andaka, which is green and more insect-like in appearance. The notes from SONICTEAM mention that the mag designs were prioritized, classified into living organism, servant, and floating systems, and developed quickly in parts. They mention incorporating initial character rough sketches, and the process of naming them one by one from the planning stage. The designers mentioned are Watanabe and Yuki Takahashi, continuing from the previous page. This page continues with the weapon and mag section, highlighting more mag designs. Starting with Shumuba, which is blue and white with green accents and an orange eye, we also see Ashvin, depicted in green and gold, and Maro, an orange and gray design. Further down are Bana, a purple and green mag with a central orb, Mitra, which is a gray, black, and yellow shield-like design, and finally Vayu, shown as a white and orange design. This page showcases more weapon and mag designs from Phantasy Star Online. We can see the Dumbas, which appears to be some kind of twin-blade weapon or attachment. Then there's Valara, which looks like a shield or armor piece. Following that, Bhairava also appears to be another type of armor, perhaps for the legs or arms. We also have Karma, which seems to be a weapon, possibly a rifle or cannon type. Namuchi is depicted, which is a mag with a rounded body and tail. And finally Naraka, which is a mag with a more angular, leaf-like design. This page continues with more weapon and mag designs. We've got Rahavana, which looks like a horned mask design. Then there is Naga, a blue serpentine mag. Nandin is shown, and appears to be some kind of armor, possibly for the arms or legs. Kabanda is next, which looks like a winged mag design. Urar is displayed, seeming to be a set of twin daggers or blades. Lastly, Ushasu is shown, which looks like a spiky helmet-like mask. This page showcases more weapon and mag designs. Starting at the top, we have Apura Sarasu, depicted as a large, mechanical, winged weapon. Next to it is Shita, which appears to be a smaller, possibly handheld weapon. Moving down, we see Rivu, which looks like a pair of wing-shaped mags with circuitry designs. Then there is Garuda, another mag design that seems to be more organic and claw-like. Finally, at the bottom, we have Yakusha, a helmet or headgear with a mask-like appearance. Kaitaba is shown next, also looking like headgear or a shoulder piece. Lastly, material is displayed, and this seems to refer to the material type or concept for some of the armor or equipment designs shown on the page. This page continues to explore weapon and mag designs. Starting at the top left, we have Madu, a purple and orange creature-like weapon with a note that its dorsal fin lights up. Next to it is Soma, a yellow and brown mag design, described as being able to move or actuate. Moving down we see Turkar, a blue and gray weapon shown from the side, for both the left and right parts. Then we have Kumara, a brown and yellow mag, with top and rear views, and a note saying the bottom is the same as the top. Lastly at the bottom there's Surya, a white and purple weapon showing different material and day/night color variations. And to finish, Marucha or Marlicha is presented, a red and yellow weapon with notes about its slightly upward curved beak, cross-section and wing details. The next page continues showcasing MAG designs from Sonic Team. Starting at the top, we see Busyan, described as a torpedo-type MAG, featuring a blue, rounded form. Next to it is Chateau, a blue, cat-like MAG with a number 43 design. Below Busyan is Beamer, a purple bat-like MAG with a prominent single eye. To the right of Beamer is Freda, a yellow, bird-like mag resembling a pterodactyl head. At the bottom left is Rookman, an orange and purple mag classified as a naughty type. Finally, we have Hitri, a white and red MAG described as being made of material and metal, with bat-like wings. There's a note from Sonic Team members Watanabe and Takahashi explaining that initially, they designed these rare MAGs to evolve alongside class-specific MAGs, but they ended up being very cute and biological looking. They also detailed the desired movements to the programmers to ensure they were accurately represented in the game. This page showcases more mag designs from Sonic Team, focusing on Photon Miraju mags. According to Sonic Team designer Satoshi Sakai, these MAGs are designed to be the opposite of Dark-type enemies, while sharing the same origins. He mentions that while they may initially look similar, Dark-type enemies are based on darkness, whereas Photon Miraju are based on white colors. He explains that Dark-type enemies were designed abstractly, so these Photon Miraju MAGs were intentionally designed with clear, understandable motifs. The page features several MAG designs. At the top left is Nidra, a bird-like MAG, and next to it is Shirel, a round, red MAG. On the right is Soniti, a rabbit-like MAG. Below these are more mag designs. Bila, a jellyfish-like mag, Gora, resembling a deer, Estura, a dolphin-like mag, Mila and Eula, small mushroom-like mags, Lyra, a plant-like mag, and Phora, a dragon-like mag. This page is titled Proto Design, and it's all about the initial designs for weapons and MAGs. Sonic Team talks about how weapon designs started with names and descriptions from the initial planning documents, which they then developed further. They mention that sometimes the descriptions were a bit unclear. You can see sketches of various sword designs, and also a gun-like weapon design, with labels for parts like magazine and slider. Regarding MAGs, Sonic Team explains that in the early stages, they envisioned MAGs more like monsters that would walk around and grow. Even though they eventually became support items, the original idea was for them to be more active, attacking and firing beams. The page features sketches of these MAG designs and character designs showing a male character in different outfits holding weapons. There's also a section illustrating a life evolution example, showing visual examples of how monsters could evolve. The next page is titled Raggle Report 06, and it seems to be an overview page focused on Raggle. At the top, you can see character portraits. It looks like we have a HU Moral, a HU Moral, a Raymar, and a RA cast, basically covering the main character classes and races. The main visual is a shot of what is likely the Pioneer 2 spaceship in orbit around Raggle, giving a sense of the game's setting. The Raggle Report title reinforces that this section is going to delve into the details of the planet Raggle itself. The Raggle Report details the history of Raggle, starting with its environmental decline and the 10-Nation Federation's search for a new home in AUW 3060. Officially, Pioneer 1 was launched in 3063 after a habitable planet was found, but rumors hinted at bioweapons. By 3070, settlers arrived, establishing the Central Dome. Discoveries of ruins and the development of advanced technologies like MAG and ULT occurred alongside military investigations and monument findings. The timeline progressed with environmental preparations, the arrival of Pioneer 2, and the Central Dome explosion in 3079. Investigations into ancient ruins and the discovery of an ancient space battleship followed, alongside the rise of dark faults. By 3083, the danger of proto-faults led to a decision to eliminate dark faults, resulting in an explosion, and Rico Tyrell being the only survivor. The aftermath included investigations, missing teams, and a final message from Pioneer 2, culminating in the discovery of Gal Duval Island. The Regal report details the organizations involved in the Regal crisis. Planet Coral, facing environmental decline, funds the Pioneer Project and supports the Pioneer 2 Governor General's Office and Lab. The Pioneer 2 military department initially focused on immigration, but reorganized under Tyrell to prioritize Camless recovery and rapid reinforcement. The Pioneer 1 and 2 military departments dispatched personnel to Regal, forming the Hunters Guild in response to the emergency. Dr. Ost's Pioneer 1 lab conducts bioexperiments under Coral's direction. The Independent Hunters Guild, officially under the Governor General, has gained prominence. Black Paper, a smuggling and execution organization, investigates and suppresses information for Coral's 10-nation federation, with recent ties to the Pioneer 2 lab. WORKS, led by Dr. Montague on Pioneer 2, is involved in military operations. The diagram indicates funding, troop dispatch, and adversarial/cooperative relationships between these organizations. The text introduces key personnel on Pioneer 2. Colin Tyrell, the Governor General, oversees political and military affairs, and is the father of Rico Tyrell, a celebrated hunter known as Red Ring Rico. Irene Seppa manages the security and investigation departments, with Zid as an information officer utilizing the Hunters Guild for discreet investigations. Heathcliff Flowen, a war hero and mentor to Rico, is investigating the Regal route. Natasha Mitaros, the chief of the research lab, is known as ICE. Ellie Person, a refugee and lab operator, is involved with the CALS system. Noel Renale, also a refugee, is a former journalist. Donif Baz, a war hero and Flowen's adopted father, died in the underground ruins. Zoke Miyama, another war hero, is one of the legendary Four Swords. This page introduces key characters and their connections within the Regal report. Shino, an advanced android, is Zoke's companion and seemingly ceased functioning after Zoke's death during a Regal investigation. Eleanor Camuel, a highly emotional android created by Giancarlo Montague, experiences AI instability, leading to experiments on Regal involving the prototype ULT. Montague, a brilliant scientist specializing in photon and biogenetic engineering, collaborated with Dr. Osto Heil on the Pioneer Project and Mother Project, developing MAG. He oversaw the creation of emotional AI androids, but faced military pressure and forced activation of ULT. Dr. Osto Heil, another leading scientist, researched the D factor on Regal and created AIs like Volume Opt, Carl S., and Olga. The page also features a relationship diagram, revealing connections between characters like Zook, Flowen, Rico, Alicia, Donif, and Tyrell, highlighting their intertwined roles in the unfolding mysteries. This page details key figures in the Regal investigation. ULT Camuel, an android prototype from the Mother Project, disappeared with her creator after consuming D factor. Sue, a Newman from the Black Paper organization, conducts covert investigations, working alongside heroes like Donif. Ash Kanan, an inexperienced but eager hunter, became Donif's apprentice. Dr. and Matha Grave, scientists investigating Regal, lost their daughter and are now on Pioneer 2. Alicia Baz, Flowen's adopted daughter, researches the ecosystem and is now working with Bernie. Leo Greyheart, a powerful former captain, seeks to re-establish his influence on Pioneer 2. Kirik, a Black Paper assassin, sought revenge on Flowen, but, upon learning of his death, continued to commit murders. Bernie, an experienced soldier, is now involved in anti-government activities. These individual stories are interwoven and offer clues, but require further investigation to understand the full picture of the Regal incidents. Regal's environment is powered by photon, a fundamental energy source harnessed by the photon generator, driving advanced technology. Technology mimics ancient magic, using photon generators and technique disks for elemental manipulation. Two races, Numans and androids, exist alongside humans, though racial hierarchy is softened in the Hunters Guild. The Legend of the Four Swords speaks of powerful swords crafted by legendary swordsmiths. Enemy groups stem from Pioneer 2 Labs experiments, categorized as Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. The volume Opt AI and its emotional AI evolution are also present. Project Pioneer is the emigration effort to Ragol from the dying planet Coral, with Pioneer 1 leading the mission and Captain Heathcliff Flowen at the helm, aiming to investigate and terraform Ragol for subsequent fleets, including Pioneer 2. This page details three key elements: the Dark Factor, Mags, and Project Mother. The Dark Factor, or D Factor, is described as a mysterious element discovered on Coral, associated with abnormal photons and possessing a kind of will. It's considered a driving force in evolution and is controlled by what's called emotional AI. Cells that contain this D factor are termed D cells. Moving on to Mags. These are AI-equipped life forms provided to hunters who are officially registered. Developed by scientists like Ost and Montague, Mags synchronize with their hunter to amplify their abilities. They're considered an early attempt to merge machine and life, utilizing emotional AI for control. Mags can store energy and unleash powerful photon blast attacks, even creating photon mirages. The text hints at a possible connection between Mags and D cells, suggesting they might share a common origin with mirages observed on both Coral and Ragol. Lastly, Project Mother is outlined, originating from the Pioneer Plan and the discovery of a meteorite on Ragol. This meteorite, originating from Coral, contained photon energy and D cells. Project Mother is exploring the link between photon energy and life, with Mags being seen as the first step in this project. The Pioneer Project, initially about immigration, shifted in focus due to government and military influence. Notably, Dr. Ost, a key figure in Pioneer 1 and Project Mother, has passed away, and Montague, who succeeded him, is currently missing. This page, titled Creator's Voice 07, features a prominent image of a spaceship or space station set within a hexagon frame. Below this, there are several smaller hexagonal portraits, likely showcasing key figures or characters related to Phantasy Star Online. This section, Creator's Voice, appears to be spotlighting the team or individuals who contributed to the game's creation. This interview with the Phantasy Star Online development team reflects on the game's creation. Developers initially underestimated the challenges of network game development, surprised by its complexity upon PSO's December 2000 debut. They embraced user feedback, recognizing PSO as an evolving project with continuous updates, including US and European versions, and Ep1&2. The team aimed to foster player connection and a shared experience, drawing inspiration from Star Wars for a sci-fi atmosphere, avoiding typical fantasy settings. Freedom and character customization were core design principles to allow player expression. Key staff members discussed include director Takao Miyoshi, main designer Satoshi Sakai, and main programmer Akio Setsumasa, all involved from the project's planning stages. The interview highlights the team's efforts to build a unique and engaging online world. This page discusses the development of Episode 1 and 2, revealing it was initially planned as a completely new game. The team, including director Hata and Miyoshi, talks about the platform change to GameCube and the challenges of developing a network game, especially after the success of the original PSO. The conversation then shifts to the character Larry, whose inclusion lightened the mood of the scenario. Planner Kano and director Hata mentioned that adding Larry made the game feel more relaxed. The team was also highly motivated by fan reactions there. They discuss how player feedback influenced development, particularly in providing more freedom within the game. Director Hata, main programmer Matsunami, and planner Kano touch upon adjusting game balance, implementing multi-mode, and increasing the number of playable characters based on fan input. Featured on this page are portraits of key developers: Shintaro Hata, the director, Shinya Matsunami, the main programmer, and Atsushi Kano, a planner on the project. The page highlights their insights into the game's development process and the impact of fan feedback. This page continues the PSO Creator's Voice series, focusing on a roundtable discussion with the design staff. The topic revolves around character design, specifically highlighting how intricate and numerous the character parts are, making them difficult to remember. The designers discussed the division of labor, with Watanabe handling male characters and robots, and Takahashi in charge of female characters. They mention the challenge of differentiating robot characters, noting subtle variations in lines and details. Watanabe explains that while initially wanting robots to look very robotic, they adjusted to make them more android-like to retain human-like elements. The team also talks about the idea of creating an idol group within PSO. They mention that Funereal and Haniul were specifically designed with costume color variations based on skin tone, intending for players to use these to form idol groups in the game. The Yasuno Mikofu is Imamura style. Section reveals that the Yasuno Mikofu design is attributed to Imamura's style. Finally, the page features design staff profiles of 3 key members. Akira Mizuno, the official PSO illustrator. His profile mentions drawing countless illustrations, and his preferred character being the Aramar. Wataru Watanabe, a PSO and PSO Ep1&2 designer in charge of characters, weapons, and mags. His interests include gunmania and playing as a Fomarl and Varha. Yuki Takahashi, a PSO and PSO Ep1&2 designer responsible for character, weapon, and mag design and modeling. Her preferred weapons and MAGs are rabbits, wands, and Petitoris. This Creator's Voice Roundtable discusses background and enemy design in PSO. Enemy design categorized foes into native creatures, altered beasts, mecha, and dark creatures, each with distinct characteristics. The team, influenced by special effects, admits difficulty with mecha design. Background design was split between 2 teams led by Kitamura and Mikame, each responsible for specific map themes. Initially, map images weren't strictly defined, providing creative freedom. Hidden game elements include dolphin locations and the connection between the plant section and Darol Leva's waterway. The VR environment reflects Pioneer 2. The Gold Dragon boss battle occurs in a virtual coliseum. The final boss arena mirrors Episode 1's. Staff profiles highlight designers Kitamura, Mikame, and Yasumura, detailing their contributions, including memorable areas like Galdaval and the plant section. This page showcases the back cover of the book and features a character art piece displaying key figures from Phantasy Star Online. The cover includes details like the ISBN number, the price of 2,800 yen, the barcode, and the publishing company, SoftBank Publishing. The copyright information for SONICTEAM and Sega from the years 2000 to 2002 is also present.